beautiful country. We don't want to stay here in winter. We love our country. We can't go back to Uganda because the dictator in Uganda for 40 years has made it horrible for us to go back to Uganda. Why are we saying this? The junta in Uganda has been in power for 40 years. Add 10 presidents of America, that is the lead of Uganda. We've been under the same man for the last 40 years. And he's talking as if he's starting another term. I think that could be the 7th or 8th. So, we are here to ask EU 2 things. Stop funding the dictator. Another thing, just come out of Uganda before it turns into a genocide. What is going to follow, you will not like it. There is so much animosity that people won't separate good from bad. Given that Ugandans have been suppressed for the last 40 years, people have suffered badly under the dictator. As a good example, you keep funding public service. There isn't any public service. EU, behind me, keep funding hospitals. There isn't any functioning hospitals. EU keeps funding schools. There isn't any iota of education. They keep funding roads. Look at the potholes. They are not potholes. They are death traps. They are graves. A grave digger would find it easier burying somebody in the middle of the road in Uganda. That's how bad the roads are in Uganda. And EU, you still fund our death. There is more prisons out of the money you give to Uganda. Since you funded Uganda, the junta in Uganda has built more 6 hospitals. He hasn't built 6 prisons, no hospitals. We've got more soldiers than we need. We don't have doctors. He's passing out. EU, the countries in EU, keep training and funding. They arm the dictator. They give him guns. They provide the grenades. They provide the tear gas. France provides the tear gas. The bullets that kill Ugandans are from Germany. The guns that kill us are from UK. The training of the soldiers who kill us go to Sandhurst. Can you stop this, EU? We've suffered enough. Stop it. We are not begging money. We are not begging human resource. We are not begging for financial resource. We are well equipped. We have the resources. We have the human resource. The best intervention you could do for us, stop funding the dictator. We can take him on, and we can take him on further and well. The intervention I tell you today, EU, stop arming the dictator. Stop providing the guns. Stop equipping him. Stop doing whatever you think. It doubles silly when you give money and earmark it for hospitals, only to end up with a lot of guns, only to end up our sisters and brothers being tear gassed by the junta with equipment from EU. Corruption is the currency in Uganda. They have never done anything. Corruption, the evil of corruption is the currency in Uganda. We had a census which cost over 100 million, only to come out that the population has stayed stagnant. And my tribe is lesser than where it was 10 years ago. That is a fiction. They went through the motions. There was no census. Yet we spend the money America spends on the census. With 200 million people there in America, they spend over 100 million. In Uganda, with a population of 47, we spend over $100 million. What a fake thing. And the EU, you clap hands. The demographics is good, so they are giving us a population. EU, you better stop funding our death. You better stop funding the military. Stop playing cards. You stop thinking the agriculture was better 40 years ago than it is now. I grew up seeing cotton. I grew up seeing coffee. I grew up seeing all the cash crops. To date, None is non-existent. Sorry for my French. The Indians have come back to rape us again. When we had got rid of them, they are there. The richest 10 people in Uganda, 9 are Indians. A front from 70 to steal money from Uganda. Here again, we are at it again. Dictator Amin cleansed us from the Indians, and now they're back, and they're channeling money to the EU. You do nothing. This is blackmail. Can you stop funding the dictator? Because you're funding for our death. The hospitals are next to Dokano. There isn't anything. Stop funding. The money goes to M23. There's nothing happening. Now, as if you're blind, ECOP, there's a big pipeline which is over 1,400 kilometers long. EU, you're keeping quiet on this. The environment is going to be degraded. You're not saying anything. TotalEnergies, which is from France, part of EU. The law in EU says if there is an assessment impact for the environment, the program shouldn't go ahead. EU, you're keeping quiet on this. You better come out and stop ECOP. We don't want ECOP. It affects us more. It's going through very good natural beauty. Money that would come from tourism is more better than money coming from dirty oil. But EU is keeping quiet about TotalEnergies. They are watching and waiting to do the same things they did in Congo. A little bit of fine here and then TotalEnergies goes ahead. We want you to stop because the other option will be bad. People will fight back and TotalEnergies will regret this. We ask you one thing as I wind up. Stop funding the dictator. Thank you.
People power. Our power. NUP. Everywhere. We are talking about Total Energy, which is a company originated from France, and Shell, which is part of Danish or Denmark. These two companies have decided to violate all the international laws regarding the extract of oil petroleum products from Uganda. They've taken profit before our lives. These are the people who are financing M23 in Congo. The United Nations and the European Union, they've played double standard. In the night, they condemn Uganda. Daytime, they are dining with Museveni of Uganda. These are the double standards. Where are the sanctions against Museveni for supporting M23? The United Nations report and the European Union report condemned Uganda for supporting the militia M23 exploiting the mineral resources of DRC Congo. Go to Anvers in Belgium. It's full of diamond and gold. Where is it coming from? It's coming from DRC Congo and Uganda. Go to France. The biggest shopping center, like Harrods, is called La Tafere. All the gold and diamond is from Congo and Uganda. No wonder why the European Union is still supporting the brutal regime in Uganda. Because they earn more, they survive more under the brutal dictators. They play double standards. They talk about democracy, but they are supporting the brutal dictators around the world. And when few Africans come to Europe because of the arms which the European Union has shipped to Africa, they complain why Africans are coming to Europe. It's because of you. You are arming the brutal dictators in Africa. You are sending arms to the brutal dictators. You have allowed them to bring their stolen money to Europe. Their children go to Oxford. Their children go to France and Germany in the best universities, not because they are bright, but because they can corrupt their way and study in these universities. While majority of Africans, Ugandans in particular, they cannot afford school fees. They cannot afford a £1 paracetamol as we stand here. But you are financing the richest brutal dictator, Museveni, a man who is worth 13.5 billion US dollars. And you are sending the European Union. Only this week, the European Union sent to Uganda 80 million. What that 80 million is going to be used for is to support the construction of prisons in Uganda. When you demonstrate against the brutal dictator, is that prison you are taken to? Is the same prison you are tortured to death? The European Union is supporting our torture. The European Union is supporting the rapists of Ugandans. The European Union is supporting the kidnapping of Ugandans in Uganda by financing, promoting the brutal dictator Museveni of Uganda. People power, our power, NUP, everywhere. Democracy, as they say, started from Europe and it went around the world. But it's only in Uganda where democracy doesn't exist. But still, regardless of democracy not existing in Uganda,
it's good enough for us. We are losing our dear brothers and sisters.
people power,
Our power.
our power.
People power.
So a bonus Thursday evening of Premier League.